Right, a little video all on its own. Some time ago I was in the fortunate position of having my neighbour Tim help me out with sharpening all of my blades. But I thought, I can't carry on like this. I've got to be able to be in a position to sharpen my own blades. So I managed to pick up this Tormek T1200 from eBay, and I've never used it, so this is really seeing what I've got for my money. So basic unit, and it's come with the 200mm stone grader, the honing compound for the honing wheel, water trough of course, and bar, that's the jig to hold the blade. Now I know I'm not going to be using it because I have no opportunity and no facility for turning wood, but the equipment for holding the gouges. That's the angle finder for the gouges and the angle finder for the blades. Helpfully, I've just discovered it's got the instruction video, so I'll watch that at some point. The little bit of instructions I've got printed out, I'm going to have to find the full instruction manual for that and give that a read. So today it's just a case of fitting it together and having a play on the plane that I recently bought, because that blade is as blunt as anything. So it'll give me an opportunity to have a go and see what's what. So let's get the stone fitted. So, mounting the grindstone, take the left-handed plastic nut off, fit the stone tighten up finger tight, and when that starts rotating, the instructions say that that will tighten up nicely. So, oops, the next thing I've got to check is putting the support right down onto the stone and making sure that that across there is touching in all places. So if I just come down, no, it's a little low on this side. So that will be a case of using the stone grader and just making sure that it's flattened out. Right, so fill the trough with water up to the line. Helps if you plug it in. and switch it on. And just keep topping it up until nothing else drops. So that has taken about 700 millilitres to soak into the stone. Right, so that's given me some idea. Make sure the water's right out of the way. Right, so normally the instructions say use a jig to hold everything flat, but I haven't got that, so I'm just going to be working by eye. So this is the high side. Almost there. That is nearly flat now. That's good. There we go. That's fine. Right, so that's now flat. What I'm going to do is just take the grit down. I've done that coarsely. The fine side now will just make it better for grinding. That feels nice and smooth. Okay, blade I'm working on, I assume that is 30 degree bevel, but thankfully the Tormek guide gives me the angle finder, and not 35 degrees because I can see daylight through that. 30 degrees, no, it's 25 degrees. Okay, that's fine. So the width of the wheel, sorry, diameter of the wheel is 200. Angle is 25 degrees. Then bevel downwards with that against those two lugs. That will mean it's parallel. Chamfer. Right, so with that on the wheel, that flat needs to be on the iron. That is roughly correct, because the whole of that flat there is on the iron. No, that's rocking. But that's on the flat, so it needs to go down or up. Let's see which way it goes. Those are the nuts to hold the bar, but that's the micro adjuster. So bring that down, and then I can, with that in place, I can now release those. So I can definitely see daylight under this edge, so which way is it going to go? Does that need to go up? Yes. And there we go, that's 30 degrees. Sorry, 25 degrees. Tighten both those off. Now on the T8 and the T4 there is a stop to stop the blade leaving either side. I don't have that here, so I'm just going to have to play this by ear and make sure I don't slip off the side of the thing. That's definitely feeling sharper, because I can no longer see any edge. I can see a little. Now for the hone, it's put it in here. And that should be the correct angle. But I will double check. Now what I've done, or had to do, because I wasn't easy about it, I've adjusted where in the jig the blade is held so that the blade, the iron, matches where the honing is. So that's that. Next thing, get the honing paste, and just a little bit of 3-in-1 oil to start. Then honing compound, so take it out of the jig and take the burr off. Clean that up. And that feels really quite sharp, and it looks nice and sharp as well. So, okay, so here's the test. I've fitted the blade into the plane and just adjust the fence. So that rebate is really quite rough, so it's a case of seeing how this has gone. Now that has cut very nicely. Really very thin shaving, so I'm pleased with that. That's proved that the Tormek is, I don't know why I keep trying to say Tormek or Tormek. The Tormek is a very good sharpening system, so that's one plane that is good to go. Right, let me put this back in the box. So now it's a case of just taking this apart, and yes, trying to let's take that. And apparently it's as simple as having the grinding wheel on my right and just pushing, and that dislodges the locking nut. So make sure that comes off and gets put away safely, because otherwise the water that was on there could set up some rust. So pop that back on. There, and dry everything off. So how did I get on with the Tormek? Incredibly well. It was a pleasant experience, and digging a little further into it, there is no specific handbook for the Tormek. If you go to the Tormek website and on the support pages, you can sign up to their emails, and that will give you access to the generic handbook that covers all of their machines. And one or two of the contributors to the forum have produced a downloadable list of upgrades, so that if you've got one, you can see how the machine has progressed and what you might need to upgrade to bring the machine up to current spec. So I'll definitely be using this again. I'll be looking at getting one of the flattening jigs, so that I can make sure the grinding wheel is true and square. And I won't be using it that often, because I don't use planes that often, although it is increasingly becoming frequent. So that's how I got on, and hope you found this useful, helpful, and I'll see you next time.